Good morning and welcome to Member Focus Monday. I'm Christina Schaefer, Director of Social Media for HAR, and I'm joined this morning by ShowingSmart Manager Richard Aguilar. Welcome to the program, Richard.
Thank you, Christina. Thank you for having me on. Been waiting for this.
Yeah, this is your first time on our program, and we're excited to have you. As people can see from your background, we are going to be talking about all things ShowingSmart this morning. So we're excited to hear from you, hear about some enhancements and some things that are coming down the road as well. But since it's your first time on our show, we'd love to hear a little more about you. Tell us who you are and what you do.
Okay. So again, I'm Richard Aguilar. I've been with HAR for 17 years. I started in membership. So about for the first 10 years, I assisted our members with joining the association, transferring, Supras, so all of that. And then I got asked to become an instructor, which thankfully I had you as a mentor. You taught me everything I knew as an instructor. And then July of last year is when I got approached to help oversee ShowingSmart, which is just absolutely amazing. I just love it.
Wonderful. And you do a great job at it. As somebody just said, Richard rocks in the comments. So thank you for that. Before we get into some of the questions, I do want to briefly mention that this week's Member Focus Monday and the HAR On the Move podcast are sponsored by Artavia, a new home community in Conroe. Stay tuned until the end to see a really fun video of their community. So Richard, thank you again for what you do for our members. They're all telling you good morning right now. So let's talk a little bit about ShowingSmart. So you said July of last year, you stepped into this role. Obviously, ShowingSmart's been available for a while now for our members. So how has the reception been from both agents and consumers since the launch of ShowingSmart?
The reception has been overwhelming. Our members are very pleased with it. Well, they developed it basically, so they got what they asked for. Our members have been asking us to develop something like this, and we finally put the pedal to the metal, and we got it out there. And for our consumers, their sellers and buyers, they love the product. It's very easy to use, and we're getting a lot of good response.
Very good. I think with consumers, it's probably no news is good news, right?
Right.
Absolutely. Wonderful. So glad to hear it's been a good reception. I know there have been countless enhancements made to ShowingSmart since its launch, but can you tell us about some of the recent major enhancements, some of the bigger things that have happened lately?
Okay. One of the most requested and pushed out enhancements is the admin access. So a lot with our agents being so busy, a lot of them have assistants, licensed and non-licensed assistants. And so we have a enhancement where they can add an admin to help them with their listings, get the feedback for their listings, approve appointments if they're needing approval. And then the biggest enhancements that I think we did was our app for ShowingSmart. And the app has been tremendously well received as well.
Wonderful. And we can talk a little bit more about the app in just a bit because I'm sure there's more to share there. Are there more enhancements in the works?
We do have a enhancement in the works. It's a broker dashboard. So we've been working with various brokerages of various sizes, trying to get input on what they would like in this dashboard. So that's up and coming.
Okay. Any other enhancements?
We have some. We just did another enhancement that I think a lot of agents were asking for, and it was our feedback enhancement. You can now regulate the feedback that goes out to your showing agents, so they can regulate that, to every 4 days, 1 day every 30 minutes. So there's just so many new enhancements, and we can always go see those on our har.com TV HAR TV. To see all of our new updates.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Wonderful. So we just had a comment here, not really a question, but I think we can still touch on it. Just wish agents provided feedback, but that's not a system issue. Is there something you'd recommend though to agents when they're trying to get more feedback on their listings?
Well, we automatically send it out for you depending on what you select, but agents can also request it manually after that feedback is set up. You can also request it manually. We do get a lot of agents that have feedback sent to them because we send it out so frequently. So I can tell you the way that it's automatically defaulted, we have gotten so much feedback from showing agents because of that.
Okay. And so how can people actually manually go in and ask for feedback? Is that just within the system?
That is within the system. So on your listings, there's a feedback section. And if you go to that feedback section, it'll show you who has given the feedback and who has not. And then you can request manually any showing agent feedback by clicking the request option, request feedback.
Wonderful. Excellent. Thank you so much. Okay, I see a few other questions came in that we'll touch on. I had a showing request that was approved for another agent with the same name. What do you suggest as a preventative going forward?
Request from an approved agent with the same name. Well, when we do provide you with that information of the showing agent, it always has the brokerage they're with. We don't have many with duplicate names, but I would just look at that. There are some, but I would just look at that particular brokerage to make sure, it's not the same person. But sometimes we do get requests from the same showing agent for duplicate appointments for the same listing. They want to reshow it.
Okay. Well, okay, that makes sense too. Susan asked, this is going back to feedback really quick. If maybe I, as a showing agent, text you our feedback, would you, as the listing agent, be able to input that manually, or is that not available?
That is available. So
Okay.
if a lot of the times, if you don't get feedback, I do know that you will text the showing agent for feedback, and they may respond with their feedback via text. That is something that you can upload into the feedback provided from the listing agent section. So yes, you, the listing agent, do have the option to enter that feedback that was given by text or email from the showing agent. You can upload that yourself, and your sellers will get that information as well.
Wonderful. Susan's happy with that. She said, yay. Excellent. Thank you, Richard. So we talked about some enhancements. One of the biggest ones you mentioned was the ShowingSmart app. So you mentioned the reception of the app has been good. Is it only for agents, or is it for consumers as well?
So the app is available for agents, obviously, and it is also available for their sellers and buyers. The way that they receive this app is through a portal. So once you add them as a contact in the listing or as a buyer contact, then they're automatically emailed a portal, and they're able to download the app and log in to see all their showing requests, to see any appointments that have been scheduled for them if they're the buyer side. And the sellers are also able to approve, decline, or request alternative times for any showing requests that are being made.
Okay. So how user-friendly is the app? Is there a education barrier? Can I just pick it up today and start using it?
You can actually, it's that easy. You can pick it up, log into your ShowingSmart account, and start using it without any training. It's so easy. There is training available, but it is so user-friendly. You really don't need to even have training, but it is very, very user-friendly.
Okay. And how you mentioned logging in. How do you log into I imagine first you have to go download the app, which we shared the link in the comments to go download the app. But from there, how do we log in?
So for our members, we've made it super easy. Your login IDs are identical to your HAR login. So your username and password are identical to whatever your username and password is when you log into har.com. Now for your consumers, when you create them as a contact, it's going to ask you for an email address. And then once you set up that email address, it sends them a welcome portal, which they can create their own password and then log in with their email and password.
Okay, very good. We had a question. Oh, it looks like we answered her question. Great. Nick asked, is there a way to look at the history of when an agent submitted an actual request to view the property instead of showing just when the agent actually visited the property?
Yes. So under your showing tab in ShowingSmart, it gives you a history of the entire listing showings. So even when it is sold, we do have an option that says history under the showing tab. And that history shows you all of your sold properties, expired properties, or terminated properties, where you can go back and look at all the showings as well.
Okay. It's like you guys have thought of everything. Excellent.
Thankfully to the thank you members, you brought this all up.
Yes, well, and that's a good point, because we also had a question. She had a question. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Said, "Who do I contact in regards to questions about the app?"
Okay, so you can call us directly. Our call center, our phone number is 713-930-0427. You can also email info@ShowingSmart.com. If you have any feedback, you can email feedback@ShowingSmart.com. And if you're on your app, you can simply shake your phone and then there's a question section there to ask a question.
Excellent. And you mentioned the feedback at ShowingSmart.com. That's where a lot of these enhancements have come from. So those of you that dive in, start using ShowingSmart, or maybe you've been using it for a while and think, it would be really great if we had this or that. Take advantage of that email that Richard just shared with you. Richard, I'm just curious, as a staff person, obviously you use ShowingSmart differently than our members. But I'm curious, your opinion, what is your favorite ShowingSmart feature and why?
My favorite ShowingSmart feature would be the app, because everyone is always out on the field, and right there on your fingertips you have the ShowingSmart app where if you need to approve an appointment, you can approve it from your app. If you need to see feedback, maybe your client's calling for feedback, you can view it right there from your app. So the app would be probably one of the best enhancements that we developed.
Wonderful. And that was, I know, something that people had been asking for a while. I know some people were even waiting to start using ShowingSmart until there was an app available. So I'm glad to hear that it's there and you're getting great feedback from it. Okay, excellent. So and I think you hear this a lot. I know I hear this a lot. What makes ShowingSmart different from other platforms?
The platform is included in your MLS subscription. So our members' MLS subscription, it's completely included, whether you have one listing or 100 listings. There are no additional fees for it. It's part of your MLS subscription. Because it's internally developed, any enhancement requests can be implemented very quickly. So that's a very well-received thing that we've done. Mm-hmm. So if somebody requests something, if it's something that's going to benefit our members, we go and we implement that. And then the best part about ShowingSmart is you can schedule any appointment in the MLS. So you can schedule any appointment in the MLS. All your appointments are in one database, so you don't have to go to multiple databases to see, oh, I did a showing here, I did a showing here. Everything's under the one platform.
Okay, very good. I see a couple. Okay, just a little bit of feedback here. We have a comment. Tia Miu. Again, I hope I pronounced that correctly. I'm really impressed at the call center. They pick up the phone and are very responsive to questions. We love to hear that. We have another comment. ShowingSmart is amazing. Easy to book inspection with ShowingSmart. So another great thing there. There was a question that came in from Nick, and I know this isn't your realm, Richard, so I'll kind of jump in on this one for you. Nick is asking about an update on a CRM by HAR. Nick, you'll be happy to know there is actually a task force made of realtor members working with our technology department right now as they develop that CRM. So stay tuned for more announcements about the CRM soon. Thank you for that question, Nick. Great. So Richard, again, thank you. You've shared quite a bit for our members, and we're getting good feedback. If you have a question for Richard, now is the time to go ahead and type that in. Richard, what training resources are available for ShowingSmart, and how do members or consumers access those resources?
So we do have a whole series of training videos on our HAR TV that they can go and definitely look at. We do have 1-hour webinars that you can find on our education site. And then we can also go out to your offices and teach a ShowingSmart overview. So that's available through our education department. And I recently submitted a request for a 3-hour CE course. I'm hopefully waiting for that to get approved so we can then start offering CE credit for a 3-hour course of ShowingSmart training on the web and app.
Wonderful. Thank you. Well, again, if you have any questions for Richard, go ahead and type those in. I mentioned at the beginning of this program that this week's show and HAR On the Move podcast are sponsored by Artavia. Let's watch a quick video from them. Thank you again, Artavia, for sponsoring Member Focus Monday and the HAR On the Move podcast. Richard, while we were watching that video, we did have a couple questions come in. Actually, a question and a couple comments. Connie asked, what are the call center hours?
Our call center hours are 7 days a week from 8 a.m. to 7:30 p.m. And then our online appointments are 24 hours. So you can schedule an online appointment 24/7. If you want to call us to schedule an appointment, 7 days a week, 8 a.m. to 7:30 p.m.
Very good. And we did have a comment come in from our Director of Professional Development, Rita Blevins. She said that the CE class you mentioned has been approved and will be available in November. So you can check out the education website for that. And we did also get a comment from Teresa Murphy saying that if anyone wants remote training, if you want ShowingSmart to be taught at your office, just email remotetraining@har.com. Excellent. And we have shared the link to the YouTube playlist with all of the ShowingSmart videos in the comments as well. Richard, again, you've shared some great tips, some great enhancements, and some things that are coming down the road. Is there anything else that you want to share with us today?
Yes. If you're one of our members that has not dipped into ShowingSmart, I say please give us a try. I really, truly believe you're going to find it super easy, user-friendly. And if you have any questions, you can always call us. Again, we're available 7 days a week, and we would love to speak with you.
Very good. Bev actually just asked another question. Is there a way to turn off feedback requests as a listing agent?
Yes, so that was one of our enhancements when we gave the option to kind of control your feedback. You can turn it off so feedback doesn't go out at all. And Bev has called me several times asking for that. So Bev, we finally accommodated.
We did it just for you, Bev.
Yes, baby.
Wonderful. No, and I'm sure there are other agents that are really benefiting all of the enhancements, not just the feedback enhancements, but all of the enhancements that have been put in. So again, we thank you for listening to our members and taking that feedback into account and implementing it. So wonderful. Well, I don't see any other questions at this time. Richard, thank you again for your time this morning. We really appreciate it. And you hopefully all now have a better understanding of ShowingSmart if you weren't already using it. As Richard said, I hope you all jump in. Again, thank you, Richard, for your time this morning. I do want to also mention that next week, on Member Focus Monday, it will actually be Halloween, so we might see some costumes on this program. But we will have HAR's Director of Video Services, Claudia Hernandez, on. We always love hearing from her the latest and greatest about video marketing. We know how important that is. So be sure to tune in next Monday at 9 a.m., not only to see some Halloween costumes, but to get some great information about video marketing. Again, Richard, thank you for your time this morning.
Thank you, Christina.
Have a great week, everyone. Bye-bye.